This is American Dumpster Fire.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Loki, and welcome back to American Dumpster Fire. I am joined by...
This is Tyr.
And Odin.
And we are happy to bring you more of whatever's going on. Okay, look, today is... when we're recording this, it's December 6th, which is the last day of the House Judiciary Committee holding public hearings. At this point, I don't know exactly what happened, so I don't know if we got something.
Are you talking about the hearings, the investigation?
As of today, I didn't get to see it all, so I have no idea. But yeah, today was the last day of the judiciary hearings.
I've heard that Pelosi gave the go-ahead for the official start of the impeachment.
I'm all for it, and I heard we know that there's going to be some public backlash on this. But look, the truth of the matter is the man is guilty as sin. I mean, there's no two ways about it. And Republicans have kind of banded together, and I think some of that, I don't think it's because of loyalty. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's loyalty. A lot of Republicans see it as, well, if they're behind him, it's because he's not guilty or whatever, but I think it's to protect their own corrupt asses.
Yeah, I think this is mutually self-assured destruction, because if one goes down, it might implicate others.
Right.
And who's to say he doesn't have dirt
like
on them?
The whole lot of them are connected in just disgusting.
Yeah, I
think it's a chain of corruption, and
like
they're all
terrorist and what's the word I'm looking for? Traitorous acts against the government.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and especially, I think Devin Nunes is at the heart of it.
I think it's a precedent issue. Like, if one goes down, they feel like if they can get a conviction on any level, no matter how toothless, how ineffectual, no matter how limiting it might be, if they can nail any one person on it, nobody's,
I think that's true. I think they're all guilty. I think especially the loudest of them. I think that you...
you mean Turtle Man?
Well, I mean the Turtle. I mean Jim Jordan. I mean Devin Nunes. I mean that's what's her name, Stefanik or whatever it is. The lady nobody ever fucking heard of until a couple weeks ago. This is all for some of these people is a career maker because they know that they're going to get the idiot trolls that vote Republican every time behind them. But I think they're overestimating how many people that is. And I know that we at one time underestimated how many people that was. But I think we're settled. I think it is somewhere between a quarter and a third of the population, the voting population of America.
Well, a solid quarter comes from the evangelical branch, and they will always vote that which brings their religious interest.
And I think they can augment about 10% of the vote with fake Russian votes from hacking our systems. So I think that's about where they're at. And they're thinking, okay, we can overpower the
And gerrymandering
Democrats.
Definitely gives them a strong hand in that.
But we're getting to a point where some of that's being brought up and outlawed and everything.
I have not seen anything with any teeth actually happen in that.
No, not yet, but I'm really hoping. But hey, look, the one thing Warren said this week about is she hopes to get elected with the Electoral College, and she hopes to get elected for her second term with a one-person, one-vote, which is promising to me.
Interesting.
So, but Bernie has said similar things, so I will take either of them.
Sure.
So, and right
Who
now,
said that?
Elizabeth Warren.
Okay.
Is her initial vote. She hopes to get elected with the Electoral College in 2020, and then for her second.
I hope that too.
And for her second term, she hopes to get elected one person, one vote.
Suggesting she plans to tear it down.
Right. I think any Democrat who takes office should burn it down. I think the Electoral College has to go.
I mean,
the
was intended for
Electoral College absolutely has to go.
A time period where we didn't have education. Now, I know there's a lot of people.
It's not much has changed, but the problem is
that's
it's not being affected properly.
Well,
the fact of the matter is it was affected to help offset the uneducated vote, but instead it is augmenting the uneducated vote. It is giving more votes to the uneducated.
In fairness, back
then,
it
literally is.
The schools, if you could afford them, were in all grades. Kid through maybe 6th grade and like this little Whitechapel thing.
Yeah, you didn't need much more than that. We didn't have computers.
It was meant to give rural areas a voice in a time when they weren't getting one.
My point
is not the case anymore.
No.
We're saying that the people are uneducated, and they certainly are doing their best to sound that way. But nearly all, have at least graduated high school.
That means nothing.
Sadly, it doesn't mean nearly as much as it should.
No,
But
because we're purposely dumbing people down.
I mean, look, we're
It's
passing
a long
laws that
cry
say
from
we're
where they
passing
were.
laws that say you can be wrong in science class as long as you cite religious purposes.
Oh, this is time to bring up Tennessee.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I did not see this news
Oh
item.
my God, it never fails, man. And
This
we're so
happened.
close to all these weirdos.
So-
right?
Is it where the Ark is?
My friend actually sent this to me, and I was like, "Is this a joke?
It is.
Is this
No,
real?
it's not a joke. It's not.
Is this real?" She's like, "Oh, it's real."
Are you,
So this is what it is. Tennessee lawmaker calls for the removal of higher education. Yes, you heard that right.
Oh,
Nashville,
okay. Yeah.
Tennessee. A Republican Tennessee lawmaker says he supports getting rid of higher education because he argues it would cut off the liberal breeding ground. Senator Kerry Roberts of Springfield calls for eliminating higher education while speaking about attending a recent abortion legislative hearing on his conservative radio talk show. Roberts specifically called out one activist who testified in favor of protecting abortion rights, and he asserted without evidence that the woman's beliefs were a product of higher education and claimed that getting rid of higher education would save America.
Yes.
You
We're-
fucking idiot.
Smart people
Smart people
tend to
understand.
have smarter views.
well, educated people at the very least.
So
I mean, God forbid you might see another point of view, and
Smart
an
people.
a surprising amount of them might turn out liberal.
well,
Wonder why
this
that is.
So-
Why would that be?
Literally, his argument is, well, when we educate people, they have ideas that go along with what educated people think. And if
And
we
that's bad
just
for my
eliminate, if we just eliminate smart people, then they'll agree with me.
And
That's
Cool.
literally what
As-
he's saying.
Can we
as a
have more coal money?
byproduct, stupid people are easier to rule. So
And manipulate.
Yeah, but you don't have a nation. I mean,
no, we're
without
doomed.
smart people, you're not going to have the next
Yeah, we're
wave
doomed.
of technology.
No,
you
yeah,
don't have
it's-
Silicon
What
Valley.
are you planning to rule? What is it? What exactly
That's
are
what
you
I'm
hoping to
saying.
lead here?
Farms?
You know,
He's looking for idiocracy.
Because
legitimately.
we could be like some other countries.
No,
which
no,
are
no. Those
fostering-
Carl's Jr. dispensing machines are way too advanced.
We could be like some other countries who are fostering their people into having higher educations and starting businesses and being more productive, being a bigger part of the GDP. But no, we want dumber people who can barely get by in life, and it's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
I just are there words? Like, oh, when we make people smart, they start to have ideas, and then they use their heads and they think and stuff, and then they don't agree with me. Yeah, 'cause you're a fucking moron.
Well, in the same vein,
Like-
I had just recently seen a thing where they were talking about a group intending to make a right-wing social media site. So just for
So that they can lie to each other and have nobody to
I
debate
was like,
them.
you know what you guys should call it? The echo chamber. That's what it should be.
Will they stay on that site and leave my sites alone?
Better than that.
The
can
problem
can
is
we
it would
rig
be
the
a
site
breeding ground for false information.
Can we rig the site to explode when all of them are on it at once?
But see, here's the best thing about a site like that. Will it have their actual real names? Because,
What do they have to hide? They're all awful there.
well, my point is,
No,
is
but
that like the NRA is against, registering guns because, then they'll have a list. They'll know who we are. They'll single us out and all that. Well, if they join such a website, wouldn't they in effect be doing exactly that?
I mean,
Basically, yeah. But also, this is going to be the place where they all gather to talk about how we can re-implant ectopic pregnancies into a uterus, and that'll somehow work
God.
because magic Republican power. I mean, that's the thing.
can
is
they get anything right though?
no. That's the thing, is these people who are talking about, hey, let's just get rid of college because it makes smart people, agree with liberals.
But okay,
Literally, those are the same people who are trying to make up medical procedures that are not possible.
is this the fault of our parents' generation? The participation trophy generation, right? Because it was our parents' generation that did the participation
I
trophy.
didn't have that.
And no, I had seen it. I've seen it. Okay, I've been.
Yeah,
at those
because they like to
events.
blame the kids for
Right.
needing a participation
But they're the ones who gave 'em.
trophy. But yeah, no, it's the parents. It
And-
is the
and-
parents who insisted that their kid get a trophy.
And here's where I'm going with this is that stupid people have been led to believe that their opinion is just as valid as an intelligent person's opinion. But it's you don't have if you don't have the education, the background, the information tested and retested and what have you, it doesn't mean the same thing. It's not the same thing. Your opinion based off the Bible is not the same as my opinion with 4 years of education, on that subject. On another subject, maybe.
Okay,
See,
but
I hate this so much.
Not on that subject.
Like growing up, being a somewhat intelligent being, I always felt at odds because everyone was always felt judged when you used words they didn't understand. And it wasn't like you were browbeating them or trying to talk down to them. That was just the language you knew because you read. And people were like, well, we're all equal and whatever. And it's like, well, really? Have you proven that?
you are equal.
No,
There's nothing
you're
keeping
right.
you from
You're
looking
equally
up those
capable.
words.
You're equally capable.
Yes.
But you're not
Look
equal.
up the word.
Well, no.
You're only
Look,
as equal
look,
as,
look.
as good as you make yourself.
We should all have the same rights. Period.
I'm not saying that.
Those rights should be wide open. And but equal rights does not mean equal footing, equal intelligence, obviously we're not guaranteeing that everybody has an equal starting point because I couldn't go to Harvard. I had to work my way through corporate colleges and stuff that I could afford to go to, and had a schedule that I could fit working while I went there. Okay, so obviously we're not equal in that regard. You're not equal because in the fact that I know something you don't know. So obviously we're not equal in this train of knowledge or in this.
But that only pisses them off. The fact that you assert that you actually know something that they don't.
Okay, fucking learn it.
Here's where the equality
Well, they claim
is.
they have from that website.
Use your words. They're perfectly capable of looking up these words and learning what they mean as well.
And then twisting them.
They just have no intention to do so.
So, okay.
Well, the problem is they make up what they want to believe, and then they go
that's
looking
the-
for
that's
evidence
the
to
problem.
support that.
That's the problem.
Yeah. They go the wrong way with it, and obviously, if they learn the scientific method in
So,
school,
while you said it was Elizabeth Warren talking about wanting to tear down the Electoral College, while she's at it, maybe she can add in some sort of IQ test or requirement for
That'd be great.
anybody who is getting into office.
Just a minimum, because
so
when I was
120.
younger-
Can we agree on 120?
I was saying you could
Like,
go,
I think that you can't even run unless you can pass a basic IQ
But
test.
like 120.
well,
can-
I was
can
going
we
to say
say
like
one-
95, like the low end of
95.
average.
95.
The low end of average.
That's not.
Hold
is
on,
that
let me explain.
average?
Let me explain.
100 is.
Okay, years ago, I wanted to see if I could get in the military. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go. I just wanted to see if I could, and I went through the whole process. And there was this whole test that I guess you could probably get books and study for. I didn't bother. I didn't even get that good of a night's sleep. I got a pretty decent score, but it was between something and 100. My understanding was anything below 42 wasn't legally allowed to
But that's not an
hold
IQ
a machine
test.
gun. Oh no, it was.
No,
oh,
it's not.
Well, all
42
right.
is plant in an IQ test.
What's that?
42 is a plant in an IQ
My
test.
point is that I think it should be, a 60 on an ASVAB, whatever that would scale into IQ. Just
Can
a
you tie your
minimum
shoes with a 42?
You're basically you're like 2 points under Gomer Pyle.
Should they give you a helmet? But I'm not talking about a combat helmet.
But
No,
it could
no.
be the same helmet. You just don't take
to
it off
get
ever.
into-
Crayons?
To even run for office, you need to be at minimum average intelligence.
That's what
at
I'm saying. Like at least
minimum.
at 95.
No.
At least.
I'm saying 120 minimum.
I think that's asking a lot.
It is asking a lot. And it's,
Yeah,
and
you'd
it's
end
a
up with
standard.
7
No,
people.
we deserve this. This is what America deserves. We deserve people
We
who are
do.
smarter than the average person. Look, I understand. Do you think that everybody should be able to be president and an astronaut? You can't. Sorry, you can't. But here's some hope for you, right? The average person can work very hard and increase their intelligence.
This is very true.
You aren't stuck with intelligence isn't a static number. Okay,
Some of the people I've met, that really surprises me.
so
Like the guy who got
it's laziness. Stupid is lazy.
who got that passing 42. That guy scared me.
Stupid is laziness. It is a choice not to learn things.
In most cases, that's true. In most cases,
Unless it's lead
people
paint.
will
Yes,
literally
there's the rare
work.
occasion where
They
there is
will work
damage.
to remain ignorant.
But honestly, those are rare. It is rare to be so damaged that you can't increase your intelligence. If you're an average human being, you're a healthy person, and you're stupid, it was a choice to be too lazy to learn anything. I'm sorry.
I'm sure
In
that's
which
somewhat
case,
true.
you don't belong in office.
But I mean, have you ever found someone who is so profoundly stupid that you were just like
Yes, I
You
used to
felt-
work retail.
so sorry for that being, and surprised that they were able to operate a motor vehicle to arrive at work? Like you found yourself spending 20 minutes a day just fathoming their life, and how does that work?
Mm-hmm. Retail customers.
Like, just imagining them with the difficulty of opening a single slice of Kraft cheese.
So, speaking of that, President Trump was... he left NATO abruptly this week. Did we all hear about this?
No.
That's what you call
Little-
a transition.
Little temper tantrum. Do you like my segue? They see me rolling. So Trump stormed out of NATO because he found out that people were talking about him behind his back, and he threw a temper tantrum and left.
Does he know that they do that everywhere?
I'm guessing this is news to him
Oh.
because now Trudeau is two-faced, and he has, and then,
Knowing that.
he congratulated himself on calling Trudeau out for being two-faced on a live mic.
Wait.
That was a good comment. Yeah, Trudeau's two-faced. Yeah, that was good. I'm
he
not
really?
kidding. Yeah. I
Or-
don't, those aren't his exact words.
I need to find this
But he
clip.
basically got caught on a live mic congratulating himself on what a great insult it was calling Trudeau two-faced.
I'm not doubting you in the least, especially after I saw his cue cards with large marker.
Which I thought was total
It was-
like,
it was an SNL
parody.
skit.
And it wasn't. It was like he
That
really
happened.
did that. Like, oh.
I could not believe it. Now, I got a nice large TV, and I could see that in glorious detail, and it was, wow. I mean, seriously, you guys look up this video. I'm trying to remember what the speech was, but it was just like one word on a giant 3x5 index card in black marker, like gripped with a fist, writing it out.
There is no doubt he's an idiot. But
there's
my-
something very
But
wrong.
my point stands is I think that even Trump has the capability to be a very intelligent man, but he never had to be. The entire
Oh yeah, his whole
the
life.
entire
everyone kicks
group
his
of the
ass.
elites is stagnant DNA.
It's not just elites. That's actually like an epidemic right now. There is so many people, and I'm talking like college educated people who make more money than I do, who rely on everybody else to do things for them, from editing a simple like Word document because they can't do that on their own.
Right.
So they just pass it off to everybody else to do it.
Oh, no people skills. No,
Right.
I mean it doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they like every simple little thing, they're expecting everybody else to do it for them. Because I mean, honestly, I don't really know what the logic is there, but they just, instead of learning to do things for themselves, they delegate
Yeah, because that's what
literally
leaders do. They
everything.
delegate.
Everybody is their secretary.
Okay, but here's the thing: when you can't do it yourself,
I know.
it's not called delegating. It's called passing the buck.
I know, I'm joking.
So, and honestly, you don't deserve your job. So sorry. That's just how it is.
But that's the thing, is they make it to these positions and they've never had to do anything for themselves, so they just have everybody else do it for them.
By the way, the Trudeau thing, the Trudeau and the other leaders were basically, what it was about was that there was a surprise press conference that went way too long and dragged everybody else behind. And it was quite inconsiderate, actually. And then they were remarking on it. Now, I'm sure there are much worse things that all the world leaders have talked about behind his back, including the fact that, from what I understand, North Korea has threatened to going back to calling him a dotard if he doesn't fix the situation.
Oh yeah. What was the exact phrasing? It was like a bad Google Translate, but it was like the dotarage of a dotard, I think is what they said.
Well, dotard is, like a slow person.
Well, yeah, like the elderly dottering. I assumed it was something to that extent, but dotard, that was a fun term.
So, yeah,
I mean, is that
I'm sure a lot of people. In fact, it was, I think, for like a week, the most looked up term on Google or something like that.
Is it like do?
Like what's a dotard?
Mentally retarded? Is that what a dotard is?
So,
Okay, so basically, now I thought he was friends with that guy.
Well,
You
only
mean
as
Rocket
long
Man?
as only as long
Yeah.
as he's
No,
giving
he called him
everything
Rocket
he
Man
wants.
again, so they're
Oh,
angry.
they're on the outs again.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like a junior high.
It's like two
Slumber
toddlers.
party.
No, it's two toddlers in the sandbox arguing over the toy dinosaur. It's fucking stupid. We have morons in charge of the world. Not just here, the world.
I
We've got fucking
agree.
Trump and Boris Johnson and fucking Kim Jong-un and Putin. We have morons in charge of everything.
I don't think Putin's a moron,
How
but
the
I do
hell
think
did-
that he is manipulative.
He's a
And
idiot
very
psychopath. That's what he is. He's a fucking psychopath idiot.
I don't know that he's an idiot.
Are you afraid I'm
He's-
going to get uraniumed?
Yes.
That's.
I don't. I
it
think.
wouldn't be the first, second, or third time.
I don't,
If I
I
get
don't think he's dumb.
if I get
at all.
uranium poisoning, Putin probably did it.
No, from what I've seen, I wouldn't say that he's anything less than competent. That
Yeah,
he's
I
concerning.
agree. He's
That's
scary.
what I will say.
Scary as fuck, but he is not dumb.
Regardless, he's a psychopath.
And probably looks better on a horse than.
But it's and I just mentioned many of the first, the first ones that come to mind. But I think it's probably the majority of the world leaders are inept morons, or they're psychopathic narcissists who need to be removed from
Narcissists,
I
power.
think it's more the
There's
second.
there's an epidemic right now.
No, it's both. I think there's a good chunk, but it's because they're elites. They are born into elite families, who've never had to do anything for themselves. I mean, do you think Trump
we
has
just
ever
need
tied
to
a
get,
shoe?
We need to get rid of the elites. They should not be in charge of anything.
They shouldn't exist. Nobody should
I'm
exist
not
with more
arguing
than
that.
$1 billion. That should be the cap.
They're like playing a game of risk with the whole fucking world right
Bring
now.
back the fucking guillotine.
I think that's always
Strategy?
been the case. It's just gotten easier as the world's gone smaller.
Because they have puppet strings pulling the governments and making sure everything moves in their favor.
Yeah, but the rubber barons never went away. They
Oh
just
hell no! They
evolved.
just changed their strategies and put on a new look. So no, we're your friends now. Look, you can have a TV now.
Yeah, I mean, how many billionaires didn't start off as criminals? I mean, you go back a couple
Yeah,
generations.
no, the entire Trump empire started on criminal activity.
Really?
Yeah, his father's a criminal.
Huh?
Fucking hookers and drugs.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't think Trump's any different.
Why is that not on the news?
It was when he got
'Cause
elected.
nobody cares.
It was. It was
He
all-
admitted
it
to
was in the news.
molesting women,
Yeah.
and nobody cares.
No, he's a
Yeah.
fucking monster. That's the thing.
These words literally came out of his mouth.
It wouldn't surprise
They
me in
came
the
out
least.
of his own mouth. Oh, but he would never do that.
It
That's just locker room talk. Except it came out of his own mouth.
Oh,
It wouldn't surprise me in the least if we found out that he was a human trafficker, and then still kept his job.
I question where he got his wife. Just saying.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt that she was a gift.
She hates him.
I mean,
Yeah, but
Rightfully
she's
so.
all, now don't get me wrong.
Rightfully so.
She's a terrible person too.
I don't know really much about her. All I know is she hates him. And she cannot leave him. He'll kill her.
Oh, well, somebody will.
I think that might have been mutual, as I understand a lot of those like Eastern European countries whose your sole wealth is a goat. You can usually order your wife from a catalog,
Uh-huh.
so it's sort of like an upgrade on both ends.
You think that she wants to be with him?
Not anymore.
Would anybody
Not
want to be
ever.
with him?
I mean,
She wanted his money.
buyer's remorse, I have no doubt, but I mean,
yes, she wanted his money.
I'm sure she thought she would outlive him or somehow
that he'd be
accidentally
dead by
poison
now.
him,
Yeah,
or-
I know. If anybody's hoping for it, it's her.
Does she get it? I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to will it to somebody else as evil as he is.
I mean, I've seen.
Oh yeah.
I've seen
Like-
Russian
I feel
strippers
ya.
who
Maybe it goes
with
to
more,
Putin
with
when he
more
dies?
acting, with more life in their eyes than she has. So
They're not hers.
If you had to live with him, you'd be dead inside too.
I don't think they're hers. I think she took them from a
Her
homeless
eyes?
person. Yeah. I think they're carved
all
up
right,
homeless
at any
people.
rate,
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
God. In other horrible news,
Another horrible news? Okay, off
That's
the top of my
that's
head.
all there is.
well,
That's all there is. Come on, any given day, there's more fucking awful news than we can possibly tell.
Well, Loki
Uh,
was talking about 5 different shootings, 2 of which I remember.
Yeah, go ahead and
reading
tell us about some of these shootings that you know
God. Okay, so the one was just outside of Miami, where a jewelry heist with 2 41-year-old men went awry when one shoots at the ground and it ricochets and hits one of the female employees in the forehead. which I assume
my
killed her, but he didn't say
gosh.
anything.
Okay, guys, if you're gonna rob a place with live guns,
Shoot upwards?
don't shoot at the ground.
I don't know. So they flee off. Oh, they were dressed as postal workers and coincidentally decide to jump in a UPS box truck.
Well, that's not conspicuous. They don't belong there.
And so, unfortunately, much like Clerks, this guy wasn't supposed to be working that day. He was filling in for someone else's shift.
Now, did the UPS worker, was I right? Did he die?
I did not see that in this article.
Because I thought I heard the news person say that he died.
He might have. I don't know.
In the crossfire between the cops and...
Well, I'm so getting to that.
Oh,
so,
sorry.
So they go on the highway, and traffic's slowing down to a standstill. So they box in this truck. They get out, and they use other people's, people stuck in traffic as basically human shields.
Did they get the people
not like
out?
dragging the people out of the car, but using the cars. And to my knowledge, the article did not specify. I imagine some people might have petrified and just were down in the wheel wells. I don't know. Maybe they did extract them. I wish the article said more. I don't know. But one person did actually die in the crossfire who was just parked in a car.
That sucks.
Yeah. Wrong place, wrong time. And the brother was blaming the police officers, but again, the article was
The
a little
brother
vague,
of
but I
one
believe
of
the
the-
FBI was saying we do not yet know for sure it was a police officer.
The brother of the dead person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I apologize. I don't have enough details. That's all I have to go on.
Right. Well, I mean, it's sort of young, and we only did so much research for this.
Well, it was recent, right? Was
Yeah.
it yesterday?
I thought it was earlier today.
Oh, was it earlier today?
But anyway, yeah. So, yeah, there was a huge crossfire. The police were said to be overzealous.
It's Miami. I am not surprised in that area.
There was a lot of people saying much to that effect, but the FBI are still looking into it.
Yeah, no. I hear from friends in that area. I hear the police are very overly aggressive.
However, from what I do understand, the jewelry heist people were not shy about returning fire.
I was gonna say too, though, that I mean, look, I'm thankful that they're there to protect and serve and everything like that. But at the same time, you gotta be cognizant of the innocent people around us.
Right. There's a way you engage in
you
chases.
know, up here they can't get away with that kind of stuff. The police aren't allowed to do all that.
Well, it is
So.
Florida. I mean,
Now, on the other hand, in my neighborhood, they'd have taken those two guys out by sniper rifles. So
In your neighborhood?
up here, yeah, the police would take you out by sniper rifle instead of having a shootout in the middle of the street. So
Equally scary.
it really depends on which end of the town we're talking about.
that's true. That is absolutely fair. Yeah.
If
So
you have a BB gun in the park, you might get a whole different story.
well, that's 20 cops pulling up and the rookie shooting you to death. So and then everybody blaming that guy.
Oh, what was the other one? I believe also in Florida. Was a naval base where we were cross-training.
Was that Florida? I thought isn't that Pennsylvania?
Wait, no,
I
I
need to
thought
look
that
this
was
up.
Oh,
Florida
no. I
too.
think
thought
you're
it
right. I
was
think
Florida.
it is Florida, yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of Florida men today.
Florida, get your shit together.
Didn't you want to move there? I keep telling you it's a bad idea.
Well, I want the keys,
You're right. You don't hear much bad down there,
which are going to
hurricanes.
flood eventually, so, and they won't be there
Yeah,
anymore.
there won't be
Thanks,
any
global
keys.
warming. Thanks, polluters.
Maybe put a bubble over your little key.
That can be
Yeah,
bu-
Pensacola
bubble
for
boy.
the Naval Air Station.
Man,
Okay, so
what
yeah,
the
it was a
hell,
naval base.
guys?
Yeah, so I don't quite understand what this is, but from what I understand, we're kind of cross-training, helping out foreign nations' militaries and stuff like that.
Well, Trump promised all our people to the Saudis. This is his fault as far as I'm concerned.
Well, okay, so from what the article said, so he was a Saudi Arabian man. He was on a base where no one has guns.
You mean
No one's allowed to have guns.
the
They
Saudis are
screened.
Trump's summertime lovers?
They're screened by the Saudis, and they're screened by us.
Hmm.
So, and from that roster, the elite of the elite come over here to be trained.
And then kill us.
And I don't know if they're allowed to leave the base, maybe go to a Florida gun shop or a swap meet. I don't know.
Which are
But-
everywhere, to be
But
fair.
somehow he got a handgun and shot 3 other
Yeah,
people.
Pensacola is northern
dead,
Florida, isn't
8
it?
other wounded, and then himself.
Wacky.
So,
Uh,
yeah.
You would almost think, and I mean this is a ridiculous idea. Don't get me wrong, but that maybe it should be harder to get guns.
Well, the other, yes, that. But the Saudis were behind 9/11 too. Hate to tell you. Hate to remind everybody.
Oh, I'm aware. But when we
So-
when we do Muslim bans, we completely ignore that country.
So maybe it's time to go to war with Saudi Arabia.
Oh, but
You mean
Trump,
our allies?
Trump has, yeah,
You mean our
business
benefactors.
business
not-
deals with
yeah,
them.
Yeah, not our benefactors.
Just Trump.
Benefactors to the Republican Party who are the traitors.
Well, it's all about
So-
oil and control because
Fuck
you
their
gotta
oil.
have your
We should
basis.
stop using oil.
Fuck their
Boom.
oil.
Problem
Yeah,
solved.
time to go solar, time to go electric. Screw your oil shit.
Well, they recently allowed women to drive, so they're progressive.
Right. What are the three? Like 3 women driving there?
I actually saw a documentary. It's a bit more than that, but it's got a ways to go.
What are
as
they
a
allowed?
country.
What are they allowed to do? Go get groceries?
So did you guys see this fun?
Well, actually, no. They
apparently-
have female Uber drivers. Believe it or not, that's a thing over
I
there.
would not want to Uber drive. in Saudi
Apparently,
Arabia.
Trump had a meeting today, and he's taking aim at the problem of U.S. toilets that require flushing 10 and 15 times.
Oh, so he's attacking low flow because the
He's
environmental
accusing
policies.
toilets for his Big Mac addiction.
Yes. So this is a combination of two things. Yes,
His hamburgers.
it is annoying to deal with low flow toilets that do not have power, but at the same token, this is an attack on environmentalism because low
Oh,
flow
of course,
started
everything is.
as a water conservation measure, and you don't always need that much.
How
Most of these
about-
toilets these days have two functions.
Yes, I know.
There's the one for urine, and there's the much bigger flush for Big Macs.
Try getting fiber.
So apparently,
Nope. Yeah.
I think that they're kind of
Nobody
looking
likes
at this as the man is losing it. Because the article.
Now? Just now?
I don't know. The
this is
article.
just another light bulb
The
argument.
article is just kind of talking about him like making this out to be some big deal at a White House meeting.
Do you remember when?
Okay.
Saying that the government will look into the problem of toilets that need flushing
So-
and low. You turn on the water and you don't get any water.
Here are the
Shower water comes out dripping.
Oh, water pressure? That's at a local level. That's in your own house or
Listen,
apartment
man,
building or whatever.
This is
So-
what it says.
So I mentioned it before. I'm in the medical field. So when you have a lot of fat in your stool, it floats.
It sometimes bounces back.
It doesn't want to do its job. Now you have a couple ways to handle this. All right, more fiber. Okay,
Yes.
Is it
Eat your
denser?
wicker chairs.
goes down. Yes, plenty of fiber will help you. Oatmeal is often enough. In Trump's case, he should have been doing Metamucil ages ago. Okay. The other thing is, of course, piling toilet paper on top of your buoyant turd. So,
Well,
Are
I mean,
you giving Trump advice on how
if,
to
I
fix
am.
if
this?
he's
I am.
lacking fiber,
because the orange idiot needs it from somebody, because nobody else ever tells him anything other than, "You're right, sir. Let me lick your balls."
all right,
Listen.
we're already going gross, so let's go there. Okay, are you saying that he's so big that he needs the wand? Because here's the thing: if he's got no fiber in his diet, you're going to need a fair amount of toilet paper to get it all clean. It's going to take a few
No,
passes.
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you pile the toilet paper up onto the
I
buoyant
get
turd,
that,
so
but
it
that would
drags
happen
it down.
naturally from someone with no fiber in their diet.
No, yeah. If you
It's going
had
to take a few passes.
if you had a lot of fiber in your diet, it would automatically go down all by
So
itself.
it sounds like what you're saying is
okay.
he's not
Have we
using
gone
the
too
wand.
far with
this
this?
was never
Is it-
meant
can't-
to be.
is
no.
it time to
my,
end this?
My point was that Trump is clearly losing it, and
no,
you guys,
yes. Yes.
you guys took off in a different
I
direction
think
here.
what I'm hearing is he's got a dirty butt because he's just doing a few
He's got a
passes.
dirty butt. What?
He's not looking.
That's
he's
not
just
where I was
assuming
going.
it was the greatest shit
I
ever.
was saying his
it was the
diet-
best shit
Let's
that's
be
ever been.
honest.
His diet is
he
awful,
probably has someone to wipe his ass
and
for him.
his awful diet is probably leading to his dementia.
Oh my God! Like royalty.
Butt wiper.
He has a gold toilet.
Wiper.
That's gotta be the worst job and the most awesome thing to have.
What?
He's got like a hose.
Dude, I don't want anybody wiping my ass.
I don't know. It was silk.
Oh my God! Hand me the
That-
hand. The day that I need help wiping my ass.
No,
Give
you
me a
don't
handgun.
need. You want.
No, just finish it. We're done here. Fade to black.
Still on the subject of regulations intruding on daily life, Trump renewed his frequent criticism of the drive to replace traditional light bulbs with energy-saving.
That's what I just
areas.
said. Light bulbs.
I know.
Okay, now this I do need a rant for a second. Okay, fluorescent ones are mildly annoying. Take a minute to warm up. I really don't care. I'm happy to use them. Regular bulbs, we want to get rid of them.
Well-
I like them, but fine. Let's do it.
Look,
That's
I
what we
have
got to do. LED, they suck. I bought them twice. They're $10 a pop. They didn't even last freaking 4 weeks.
Yeah, no, I've had the same problem, and I will say this, but I don't think the idea is to get rid of them. I think that it is to force the LED bulb companies to offer a warranty on them or something.
And why is it LED bulbs
Because-
and everything else last for 10 years?
I know. It's because they're not regulating the because me and my boss talking about it. One of the things we do in the medical industry is the electronics end of it.
Right.
Okay? And we try to innovate new ways to handle medical care, and so we have the same problem with LEDs. Is why are the LEDs going in things that plug in, but not things that take batteries so quickly? And it's because we're not regulating the flow of energy in them
Can't
properly.
they just regulate it at the bulb? The
There's
things are
something
huge.
going on. I don't know if they're why they're failing in that area so much, but nonetheless, I think the big thing would be is that they would, if we force them to warranty these things, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then they would be forced to come up with a better bulb.
Yeah, they're never going to sell them. I'm not spending $10 on something that's going to last a month.
It will be superior energy-wise once they get it right, but they aren't there.
Moving on.
Okay.
Do we want to talk about Border Patrol and the 16-year-old that they let die in their care?
Yeah, I heard about this. Why don't you let them know?
So they held a 16-year-old, 16, in a concrete cell without proper medical attention, and then never discovered his body until his cellmate alerted the guards. He had been seen by an overworked nurse or medical assistant or something that they have there, and she said that he has the flu. He had 103 fever, which is
Holy
pretty.
shit.
Yeah, that's pretty damn
no,
high.
He should have
you
been in
need
a hospital.
at
Yeah.
103.
And she said check him in 2 hours, and if he's not doing better, he needs to go to the hospital.
Now, they did give
I feel
medication
like-
or no?
No, not that I'm seeing.
So they didn't even try to control that fever.
Everybody involved should be in jail.
No, because that could cause brain damage.
And when your fever spikes too high, yeah.
That's
well,
negligence.
Yeah, 107, but still, those people should be in jail.
103 is high enough to go to the hospital.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, 101 is high enough to go to the hospital.
Um,
But yeah, they should be in jail. Period.
So basically, they didn't check on him. 4 hours later, he's dead. And there's a video that does not match Border Patrol's account of what.
Where they're like, "Oh, we checked on him."
Yeah,
Really?
I'm not willing to watch the video.
Did you?
Yeah, but obviously they're claiming things were handled,
Right.
and obviously it wasn't because it's on video showing
I'm more
that.
dead inside. You should have told me. I would have watched it.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I can't. My heart.
I don't want to see this, but I do want to catch the contradiction. I am curious.
Yeah, I mean, but they left him for 4 hours with 103 fever
That's messed up.
until he died. 16 fucking years old.
That is insane.
But this goes to what I was saying. One of the other times we did the show was it's a us and them mentality. They see all of us like animals and criminals and stuff like that. And them is, but the truth of the matter is, they are animals for treating people like this. You know, you'd need to be like an unfeeling animal.
I agree.
To-
Like, are you even human?
Right.
If
Or
you
as you
can
said
just
before,
let
pass the
this
buck.
shit happen in front of you.
You know, the whole Nuremberg
No.
defense.
No,
I'm
do
just
you
following
find that
orders.
acceptable?
It's not acceptable.
No, not
If
at all.
you're-
It didn't work
if
for the
you're-
Nazis.
and
It
you know
shouldn't
what?
work for anybody else.
This is something that I have seen in like experiments. Is that people, as long as they can pass the buck, as long as they can blame somebody else, as long as somebody who they deem as an authority figure is telling them to do it, people can do awful things.
Like the Stanford prison experiment.
The Stanford prison experiment, and there was another one,
The one where they tell you somebody's hooked up to a machine in another room.
and you're shocking them.
yeah.
And these people, because they viewed the guy in the lab coat as
an
an
authority,
figure, they continued to shock this man even after he was yelling, "I have a heart condition, you need to stop." And the guy would be like, "No, keep going," shock them again. And they fucking did it. Are you serious? Like, people will do this just because somebody that they see as an authority figure. And maybe it's easy for me to say because I have an issue with authority to start with. So for me to say, no, go fuck yourself, like, that's a natural response to me. I don't give a shit what kind of coat you're wearing.
Well, here's the thing is, yes, I think that the guards need to be locked up for this. The guards are
I agree
culpable in
completely.
murder, in my
I think there's a
opinion.
culture, though. So you
Who
need to go up higher.
gives a fuck?
No, my point
The fact
is
of the matter
that
is
they're
this-
not
yes,
the only ones that
of course
should be.
not.
no, they're not the only ones. It
The
should be all of them.
CEO belongs in fucking prison.
That's what I'm saying. Is you
The
need
problem
to,
with the
you need
private
to-
prison system is they're trying to make as much money off of ruining lives as they possibly fucking can. These sons of bitches, every last one of them needs to be in fucking jail, and we need to put the fucking prison system back in the hands
This
of
is
the
a
people.
16-year-old
Right.
kid. Why was he ill in a fucking concrete cell in the first place? And I
Right.
get that there's a whole border issue and whatever the fuck he's a 16-year-old fucking kid, and he's dead because of these people.
They have made us all monsters. All
It
of us.
sickens me.
It
It
is. It's
truly does.
disgusting.
These people are
Well,
monsters.
that's the other thing. I mean, when you're dealing with the sheer numbers, I kind of wonder is it
It's
possible to
unnecessary.
even have a sufficient sized medical staff? Do they even have one?
We're
I
doing
doubt
this
it.
on
There was a
purpose.
nurse. There was a nurse working there.
A nurse for how many?
Oh yeah, they
how
don't
many
care if
people,
they
though?
die.
No,
they
no, but
don't
I'm
see
saying
them
is
as human.
One nurse to how many people? I wonder.
I don't know, but
Oh,
tho-
yeah, they're
tho- that
grossly
place is
understaffed in that regard.
insanely overcrowded. Like, there's no way they're handling
That's what
them.
I'm saying.
They don't
is
even have
I don't
room
think
for
this
them.
is just the guards. I'm not saying that the guards are free of guilt. I'm saying that there's a lot of people that
Yeah, no, no, definitely the CEO, the board of directors, the shareholders, every one of them should be in
Every
jail.
single
Every
one
last
of them.
one, and the person who implemented this. I'm looking at you, Trump.
Yeah, they're all responsible for this kid's death, and others. How many have died now?
Yep, and it's going to keep happening because nobody's ever going to do a fucking thing about it until the
Because
shit stains
we
gone.
as a country, this is who we are. Take a fucking look in the mirror. This is who we are.
Yep.
Bah, bah, bah.
All right, guys. Is that it?
Yeah, I mean that's all I got.
All right. So go follow us at American Dumpster Fire on Twitter at @fire_American. We're also you can find us on Anchor FM and YouTube.
YouTube.
And there's a couple other places. Just keep your eyes out for us. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.